What do a supposed cult text, Christianity, and tea have in common? They all happen to come together under one umbrella, the Celestial Seasonings Company, also known as the creators of sleepytime tea. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Cultea. My name is Maefield, and today we'll be discussing the cult that is behind the Celestial Seasonings Company. The Celestial Seasonings Company is known for selling many types of tea, most of which are available in your local grocery store. Now, before we get started, I do need to make a disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes. The beliefs of this cult are not my own, and I don't mean to insult anyone that I speak about. If you have found yourself within a cult and you are seeking assistance, I'll be putting some helpful links in the description for you. This video will have some light discussion on both racism and eugenics, so if that's not something you want to hear about today, please feel free to click away at this time and I'll see you again next week. And as usual, here's a shot of my outfit for today. My headdress is Metamorphose, my dress is Alice and the Pirates, and everything else is off-brand. And now that we have all of that out of the way, I'll pour the tea and we can get into it. Oh, also before I forget, here's the highlighted comment for this week. Again, thank you so much for commenting on my videos lately, guys. I really do appreciate it. Okay, let's go. So let's start off by talking about the company behind the tea, Celestial Seasonings. Celestial Seasonings is in fact the largest tea manufacturer in North America. I said that so robotically, tea manufacturer, but you get what I mean. They sell about 1.6 billion cups of their signature sleepytime tea blend a year. In the beginning, the company was founded by a group of hikers in Colorado in 1969. Who would spend their time finding herbs in the Rocky Mountains, which is like such a 1969 thing to happen. Everything happened in 1969. Allegedly, the founders of this company derived the name Celestial Seasonings from one of the co-founders' flower names, and I think a flower name is like a hippie name, although I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to ask my mother. Although many people suspect the name came straight from co-founder Mo Siegel's belief in the Urantia book, which claims that celestial beings will care for humans after their physical deaths until they can be resurrected. In a 2015 article authored by Mo Siegel, he said, "Upon physical death, all surviving non-material elements return to their components and reside in the hands of faithful, loving celestial caretakers until they are reconstituted as the personality of the deceased at a different place in a more appropriate body." So who exactly is this Mo Siegel guy? Originally, Mo Siegel is someone who considered himself an herbalist from Boulder, Colorado. Prior to founding Celestial Seasonings, he was well known for selling his 36 herb tea in muslin bags to local health food stores. I feel like 36 herbs is a lot though. Like, how many herbs can you put in a tea before it just starts to taste funky? Mo claims that he was looking for a spiritual awakening around 1969, and when he found the Urantia book, it was full of the truth that he had been looking for. The teachings that he found within the book led him to create the Celestial Seasonings Company. He was once recorded as saying, "After studying the teachings in the Urantia book, I knew that it would feel selfish and wasteful to simply focus on material success. So as a young man, when I began thinking of what I could do to make a living, I immediately turned to the health food industry. The ideas in the Urantia book were the inspiration for the uplifting quotes we print on the side of our tea boxes and on our tea bag tags. And I remember when they had like the quotes and little stories on the sides of the boxes, and I also remember when they took them off, which I kind of understand why now." According to a former employee called Carolyn McDougall, Mo Siegel and fellow co-founder and Urantia book fanatic John Hay used the book's teachings in the office, which would be like so weird. Quote, "Mo and John used it as a guiding principle and continually quoted from the Urantia book. At staff meetings, they would even use quotes from the book to bolster their arguments." Can you imagine? Like, you're just a 9-to-5er working in, like, I don't know, accounting, and then all of a sudden your boss is like reciting scriptures at you from some book you've never heard of? So by this point, I'm sure most of you are wondering, what is the Urantia book? They say the Urantia book was written sometime between 1920 and 1955. The book is 2,097 pages long, and it consists of 196 papers divided into 4 parts. According to the Urantia Foundation, the book presents us with the origin, history, and destiny of humanity. It answers questions about God, life in the inhabited universe, the history and the future of this world, and it includes an uplifting narrative of the life and teachings of Jesus. According to believers in the Urantia book, it was originally authored by an otherworldly being, but many suspect the famed psychiatrist Dr. William Sadler as the writer. Sadler began his career working for Dr. John H. Kellogg of Kellogg cereal fame. He happened to work at Kellogg's Battle Creek Sanitarium, which was the birthplace of Seventh-day Adventism. Seventh-day Adventism is considered an offshoot of Christianity, which we'll get more into in a minute. There's a lot of layers to this. Meanwhile, Dr. Kellogg was an extreme proponent of eugenics at this time. And for those of you who are not aware, eugenics is the idea that the human race needs to get rid of inferior people, which is stupid and dumb. Ideas from both Seventh-day Adventism, including the Second Coming of Christ, and eugenics are both present in the Urantia book, and Sadler ended up authoring multiple books on the subject of eugenics. The Urantia book has been translated into 20 different languages, and it expounds on the ideas of eugenics. And per another journalist by the name of Marian Phillips, the Urantia book contains wording that calls for Urantians to find a new cult to replace Christianity. There are no definitive cults directly tied to the Urantia book. However, there are several prophets, self-proclaimed at that, who have been attached to cults. So basically what these quotes are saying is that the Urantia book itself was not written by someone who was in a cult or trying to start a cult, but cults have been brought to fruition through the book, just like how there have been cults brought to fruition from the Bible or other religious texts. The Urantia book and Seventh-day Adventism are two separate belief systems, but there have been parallels drawn between the two. Like I said previously, Dr. William Sadler started working at the Battle Creek Sanitarium owned by Dr. Kellogg. The Battle Creek Sanitarium is an institution that was technically founded by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Dr. Kellogg is also known for starting the Race Betterment Foundation, which was at the heart of America's eugenics movement in the early 20th century. So it stands to reason that Seventh-day Adventism probably had a hand in Dr. Sadler writing the Urantia book. And even if Dr. Sadler was not the one who wrote the Urantia book, his views on eugenics and race definitely made their way into the book. Also, can we talk about Dr. Kellogg for a minute? Like, not only were his views on race and eugenics super busted, but the guy apparently also did not want sugar on cornflakes. Apparently that was his other brother who wanted to put sugar on the cornflakes. Like, how many flops can you do? So now that we know everything about the Urantia book, who wrote it, Mo Siegel being inspired by the Urantia book and then making Celestial Seasonings, let's go one layer deeper and talk about Seventh-day Adventism. Seventh-day Adventism was originally a movement founded in the 1860s. Seventh-day Adventists believe that Jesus will soon return to walk the earth. An American preacher by the name of William Miller predicted that Jesus would return, or Advent, back to earth in 1844. And when Jesus did not appear during that year, it became known as the Great Disappointment, which is like, damn. Another prophet by the name of Ellen White took up the banner after the Great Disappointment and began teaching that Jesus had in fact already come again, but not to earth. She said that Jesus was busy cleansing the heavenly sanctuary and that he would return to earth when he was done. Seventh-day Adventists observe the biblical Sabbath on Saturdays because it's the seventh day of the week. Traditionally, Christians believe that the biblical Sabbath is on Sunday, but Adventists believe in a literal 6-day creation period for the planet and the creatures on it, because in the book of Genesis it states that God created the earth within a literal 6 24-hour time periods. They believe that salvation by grace is achievable through faith, and that Satan and Christ are in a great battle for eternity known as the Great Controversy. They believe that when the faithful die, they neither go to heaven nor hell, and instead they enter a deep sleep, waiting for Jesus to return to earth so they can be resurrected. They believe in no smoking, no alcohol, no sex outside of marriage. They also do not marry people who are outside of the church, like you have to marry another member if you are a member of this church. Adventists also consider themselves pacifists who do not engage in battle or war, and vegetarian diets are recommended and preferred. So now we know that Seventh-day Adventism bore the Urantia book, which bore Mo Siegel and his belief systems, which gave us Celestial Seasonings tea. The world is truly a patchwork quilt. Isn't that crazy? Like, if some guy in the 1800s hadn't decided to pop off one day, we wouldn't have Celestial Seasonings tea. It's weird how that stuff works sometimes. So back in 2002, Mo Siegel did end up retiring from Celestial Seasonings, and after that it seems like he really threw himself into the Urantia book. He is now listed as the president of the Urantia Foundation. In 2015, a paper appeared on the Urantia Foundation website. It was co-authored by Mo Siegel and another person called Dwayne Faw. It was titled The 20 Most Asked Questions. Numerous journalists have highlighted passages from this piece that supposedly highlight Mo's affinity for eugenics. So we did find some quotes through an article written by Jessica Wang for news.com. They say, "At the present time, mankind loses about as much progress as it makes by ignoring eugenics." That's not a normal thing people say. Oh good, there's another one. Civilization is reducing the purging effects of struggle, and modern medicine is preserving weak and disease-prone human stocks to procreate, thereby creating a larger population of weaker and disease-prone individuals to suffer such diseases. There's a lot of layers to that. I should tell you guys that it seems like this piece that Mo and Dwayne wrote has been scrubbed from the internet, which like I can see why they would do that because it sounded bonkers. But at present, Mo Siegel is serving his first term as representative of District 2 in Boulder, Colorado, and he is up for re-election in 2023. Personally, I feel very comfortable knowing that the Orontia book and Mo Siegel have no ties to Celestial Seasonings anymore, but I suppose if you are not bothered by its mysterious and odd past, you can still buy Celestial Seasonings. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, guys. I really do appreciate it. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel because I'm still just a small YouTuber and it really helps me out a lot. I'll see you again next week, okay guys? Bye! Who am I? Hello? There is a bug on my light, and that's really weird. Maybe it'll go away. Which claims that Celestial Seasonings from Celestial Seasonings